This is Louis Armstrong, master of the blues. The last time. It's the last time to be there. I'm going to tell you again. It's the last time. It's the last time.
Summertime, when the weather is hot, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, you got women on your mind. Have a drink, have a drive, go out and see what you can find. If a daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If a daddy's poor, just do what you feel. Speed along the lane, you can turn or return to 25. When the sun goes down, you can make it good and live by.
What's up, everybody? Good morning to everybody out there here in Radio Land and Facebook Land. I'm Frankie Slauson, and welcome to another great edition of Black Hills Blues.
Sing along with us, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, da-da-da-da-da, yeah, we're happy, da-da-da, dee-da-da-dee-da-da-da.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another great edition of Black Hills Blues right here on Rapid Fire Radio. I am your host with the most, Frankie Slauson, and a fine good morning to each and every one of you. And I hope everybody's ready for today's show, because we got a barn burner for you. A good old, well, a show that's about, that helps me keep this show going with a guest that I am really excited to have, because this guest has done some stuff. And he has, not only has he produced a new album, but is well known for producing the legends of blues like Walter Trout, John Mayall, and I also think he's friends with Joe Bonamassa as well, because I've seen some pictures with him. His name is Eric Corne, and I'm really, really honored. I want to thank my buddy Rick Lusher for helping me set this one up, because Rick, as you know, he's the guy. He and Mark Pushy have helped me kind of introduce me to more artists out there that I probably wouldn't have known had I not have worked with these guys. And I definitely do appreciate the support and the help, because sometimes a guy like me needs a little bit of help, to get the ball rolling and everything. So, it's just nice to know that there's people out there that actually care about what I'm doing and want to see the show succeed, and just want to see me succeed as well, see everybody else succeed. So, Mr. Rick Lusher, I do appreciate your help with today's find anyway. And he's going to be calling us. Eric's going to be calling us here in just a minute or two. So, and Eric, I see that you're in the room. So if you do have any issues trying to get a hold of me, you know the number. If that number don't work, then PM me your number and I'll call you. Either way, we will make this work. Because sometimes Skype likes to have some issues. like people get the wrong number or whatever. But the number that I sent you was the correct number, at least to try to get a hold of me. So hopefully that'll still work. As far as I know, it's still active because I did do some checking. So, but I am excited. This is good stuff. To be able to chat with somebody who has done some stuff in the music industry, and I don't just say stuff. I mean, he owns his own record. He owns a record company, 40 Below Records, or either he owns it or he works for it. But we're gonna find that out here in just a little bit. So, I do appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in here today for this fine morning here, broadcasted live from Rapid Valley, South Dakota. It is about 10 o'clock Mountain Daylight Time. And this must be him right here, I bet you. Is this Mr. Eric Corne?
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Sean.
Hey, all right. I'm glad you're able to get through because I kind of get a little worried sometimes about Skype because even though they say my account's still active, sometimes it can be kind of an issue trying to get a hold of me. But welcome to the show, Eric. Man, welcome to Black Hills Blues. I'm really honored to have you on my little podcast here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I did a little bit of research on you prior to this meet today, and I went on YouTube and tried to find some stuff, some past interviews, just to see if I could find anything that you've done. And there's not a whole lot out there as far as interviews, other than one that you did with John Mayall a while ago.
Yeah, I did a few on my last record, which was quite a few years ago, the one called Kid Dynamite and the Common Man. But, I've kind of spent most of my time on the other side of the glass. And now that I've got this new album out, I'm starting to do some interviews. And I did one yesterday, and I've got some more coming up. And I'm looking forward to them.
Oh yeah. We're just lucky to have you, and lucky to have good people like Rick Lusher and out there who and Mark Pusey who both are great helps as far as finding great talent like yourself and everybody else that they've helped bring it to my show. So I'm very honored. Your accolades of things that you've done, man, I tell you, it's pretty impressive. And the fact that you get to work with two or maybe more than that, when it comes to legendary blues performers, Mr. Walter Trout and John Mayall, that's kind of exciting. As a guy for a little person like me, that's pretty exciting to know that there's people out there that can work with these guys and help them create what they love.
Yeah, it's never lost on me what an honor and a privilege it is to work with legends like that. I'm really grateful. I grew up listening to John Mayall, and he was one of my heroes in my late teens when I was really getting deep into the blues. And if you had told 16-year-old me that I'd be, co-producing records with him and putting them out on my label, I never would have even been able to wrap my head around that. And I'll never forget the day that Walter Trout walked into Mad Dog Studios where I was engineering and having the chance to work with him, a former blues breaker and, guy who played with Canned Heat and John Lee Hooker. It's pretty exciting. And to now have become, such good friends with them and to be able to collaborate with them, it's like I said, it's not lost on me how fortunate I am, and I'm really grateful.
Well, it definitely shows because I looked at some of your pictures, not to be too creepy or whatever, but I wanted to try to get to know as much about you as I could in such a short time that I had. But
Sure.
Lots of cool pictures. I mean, just it seems like you guys are a good team and everything's pretty good over there. And I'm sure sometimes you have to deal with things that aren't so good, but it's nice to know that that even those guys appreciate a young guy like you that can kind of take them to the next level.
Well, it's nice to have their trust, and it's great experiences working with them. It really is a lot of fun. There's a lot of laughs, and there's a lot of appreciation and gratitude going around the room. So it's all good.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Eric, we're really honored to have you. And, you got a new album out that we're going to talk about too today. Happy Songs for the Apocalypse. That's kind of, I had a, not to laugh too much about it, but I had to laugh a little bit because I think that's kind of a goofy name for the title. What came to mind when you decided to call it that?
Well, I think, in times like these, it's important to kind of keep a little bit of a sense of humor.
Sure.
And I think that, my songwriting often has a socio-political, slant to it. There's definitely some social commentary going on there. I try not to be too direct. I try to, paint pictures and stuff with it. But I think it's important to keep a little bit of a sense of humor, and I think the title is looking to do that.
Yeah, it definitely does. And if people don't laugh a little bit about the title, then where is their sense of humor?
Yeah, I've gotten overwhelmingly positive comments about the title and the artwork as well. My friend Anthony Walsh did, one of my best friends, and has always done my artwork. And he did a physical, like 6 foot, 6 by 4 feet piece of artwork all by hand, with cutting all this stuff out of newspaper, and we photographed it and used it for the cover. So everything's been really well received. I'm really grateful.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. And I'm sure it's kind of nice too, because you were talking about your first album. Now, I only found on Spotify just 2 albums. Have you just done 2 albums yourself, or have you done more than that? I mean, as far as your stuff goes, I know you've helped with everybody else, but I mean, your stuff.
Yeah, I've only done 2 solo albums. I did an album in Toronto, where I was living before Los Angeles, with a band called Mysterio, and it's out of print, but at some point I might look to release it on 40 Below. It's a really cool record. I think there's a couple of songs up on the CBC website.
Okay.
But yeah, I've just done these two solo albums. But I have to say, the reaction, it just came out, and it's coming out in Europe on Friday, and the reaction has just been so positive and encouraging that I really do feel like I'll do this semi-regularly. I won't wait as long until I do the next one, and I feel like I'll play some more shows. I'm talking about opening some dates for John Mayall next month, and it's been really great. I wasn't sure how much I would do, but I feel like I'm encouraged to do more.
Well, when it comes to being on the other side of the coin, because you're so used to producing and stuff like that, what do you feel is kind of the difference being on the same coin as Walter and John and anybody else that you've helped put together? What is it like just to be the one now? Like, oh, now I gotta be the one singing and everything. What's it feel like?
Well, I mean, I think because my background is as an artist, I was playing in bands before I became an engineer and a producer. So I feel like that's always the core of who I am, is a songwriter and a guy who was in a band. So when I'm working with other artists, it's pretty easy for me to step into their shoes and to kind of empathize with the things that they struggle with.
Sure.
And I think that really helps me as a producer, because I think some engineers and producers can maybe get frustrated when artists sweat the details. And for me, I don't get frustrated, because I'm sweating the details with them. And, when I'm doing my own thing, I guess I'm just sweating a little more. And, really the biggest difference is that I don't have that extra person there to bounce things off. When I'm producing someone, I'm really collaborating with the artist or the band. And when I'm doing my own record, I don't have that extra person to bounce things off. So sometimes I'll send stuff to some of the musicians, but they're all so busy that in the end it's really on me, and maybe that's why it takes me so long to put stuff out.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's kind of a good explanation of that too. I mean, because I'm sure. I mean, you have a laundry list of things that you have to do as well, and would you consider this kind of more like a side project, kind of when it comes to making your own music, or is this kind of a priority of yours? Like, I have to do this.
I think a little bit of both. I do think that I'm compelled to do it. I don't think there's a choice there. I think that it's just something that I need to do for myself on a personal level. I write a lot of songs. I write with a lot of the artists I work with. That's another reason why it takes me a while to put stuff out. I mean, I probably wrote 3 or 4 albums worth of material in the last couple of years. It's just a lot of the songs are on, Sam Morrow's record or Karen Lovely's record. I co-wrote a song on Walter Trout's last record, and others. So it can take a little bit longer in that sense.
Oh yeah. But you got, like when it comes to, because I always hear that studio time can be kind of expensive, but are you like the owner of 40 Below, or are you like just somebody that like just manages it?
No, I'm the owner of 40 Below.
So you don't have to worry about studio time, like it costing you too much money. I mean, as far as like to get something done.
No, I still do. It's 40 Below is a label, and while we do have a small studio, as someone who kind of worked at a bigger studio, I'm accustomed to recording in bigger studios with an ensemble of musicians playing together, and so that's definitely still the case on the records I produce and my own stuff as well. And so, there's definitely. I have a lot of strong relationships with studios, and so I definitely get some favors and preferred rates, and a lot of times too, I'll just stay late after sessions and record my own stuff and just top off the house engineer kind of thing who's helping me out, but I still have those expenses as well. And
sure.
but I record pretty quickly. We record with everybody playing at the same time, and so we don't we really try to capture lightning in a bottle.
Okay. So here's another question for you that I don't know if anybody's really asked you yet, but I'm going to ask you this: who produces a producer? Probably an easy question.
You mean like with my record?
Yeah, like are you you're producing. I'm guessing you're probably producing your own album too, obviously. But like would there be anybody else helping you at all?
No, I'm producing, engineering, mixing, all on my own.
Wow. So you get like the whole on the back of the label or inside of the little book that mostly comes in CDs. it's all credited in your name. Like I did this, I did that, and nobody else helps.
I mean it's what I do for a living, so it comes naturally to me. And I definitely I've heard other producers say that it's hard for them to produce themselves.
Oh.
But I don't know, for me, it's just what I do. I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing things. So I take things to sort of, one stage at a time. When I'm songwriting, I'm songwriting. When I'm tracking basics, I'm focused on the rhythm section. When I get to my vocals, I'm getting into character and going to that place I was when I wrote the song. And when I'm mixing, I kind of get into a bit of a trance and just let the music kind of guide me. So I don't know, it's just kind of what I do.
Well, that's good though. That's good. I mean, I That's still, it's not a bad feeling to have. Even if you got more responsibility put on yourself when it comes to creating your own stuff. That's how most people do it anyway. I mean, some people would be so grateful and lucky if they had like a studio and just an area where they can just record and see how it goes and whatever. Because sometimes, as we all know, especially for independent artists, it can be tough, even just to record.
Absolutely. It's a challenge. And I think even with, the sort of rise of home recording, I think a lot of independent artists have come to realize that it's really the engineers that make records, and having a home studio does not mean that it just makes it that simple to make a great record. So it can be costly, and I think we're living in a time where it's harder for musicians and artists to monetize their work. It seemed like a great thing, the internet, but we've realized that the tech giants have kind of, used artists and made a lot of money off of our backs, but haven't really given back very much.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. I wasn't really going to go there, but when it comes to like, I mean, I don't want to get too technical when it comes to questions, because I like to make the conversation go as easy as I can. But when you're working with like a big name artist like you have, and I've seen that you work with some other up and coming artists too, and we're going to talk about that here a little bit. But what is it that are some of the perks that some of these artists expect? When it comes to not just producing the album, but I mean I'm sure you have to negotiate like a contract and everything, or is it different with your record company when it comes to who they are willing to work with?
Every situation's a little bit different. Some people are working on my label. Often I'm producing records with artists for other people's other labels. So every situation's a little bit different. I think that stuff's best left behind the curtain.
Sure. Well, like I said, I wasn't even gonna bring that up because, I mean, that's all.
I think we're gonna bore people.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing about it. It's like, it's part of the business. That's why they call it the music business or the entertainment business. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, I know in some instances, I mean, you're probably lucky because you get to work with, people that just, all they want to do is create. They don't, all the BS, is not what they're here for. They just want to create. Yeah. They want to be professional. And they want to do a good job. So.
Yeah, I can tell you when I'm working with people like John and Walter, they are only thinking about the art. Business is the farthest thing from their mind. It's all about the music. And I think that's the case for any artist worth their salt. You need to focus on the art when you're creating, and the business stuff comes later.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why those guys are legends, because they know that they know the insides and the outs. No matter how long they've been doing this, people know. And you got I want to ask this question because this is kind of maybe off subject a little bit, but this is a better question to ask. When it comes to the tour, well, I know John Mayall prefers a lighter schedule, but Walter, man, I tell you, even after his cancer, after he beat cancer and everything, that guy's busy so much. I mean, how do you find time to put together a tour schedule and everything and say, hey, you want to go around the world again? Go right ahead.
Well, John does not have a particularly light schedule. He's doing 100 to 150 dates a year.
Oh, okay.
And Walter, he took some time off when he was sick. He had took most of a year off. But I mean, these guys have booking agents that are booking their tours, and I think that they're extremely hard workers with really strong work ethics. And they, artists, musicians, we just want to work. So we want to make music, and we want to tour and have people hear it. And I think that they live and breathe it.
Well, like I said, they know. That's why I just kind of wonder because they're old. They're not young puppies anymore. These are older guys who have been in the business for a long time, and it goes with anybody that's been around. I mean, hell, look at the Rolling Stones and Aerosmith, and well, I think Aerosmith's kind of like they're talking about doing, I think, another 50th anniversary thing, I believe, here or something.
Well,
soon,
they just Aerosmith. I think this weekend. I think it's this weekend because the New Orleans Jazz Festival is 2 weekends. John played it last weekend, and Walter is actually going on. He's kind of I don't want to say opening for Aerosmith because it's a festival, but he's on right before them in a prime slot. So they're playing. Aerosmith is playing Jazz Festival in New Orleans this weekend.
And I would never figured
if there's tickets available. I don't know, but.
Wow.
But it's pretty cool. I'm really excited for Walter.
Well, I never figured a band like Aerosmith would be doing anything associated with jazz. I know they've done a blues album, like, the Honky on Bobo, but yeah. Next thing you know, you're going to see Steven Tyler's going to be like, he wants to play violin and all that stuff. It's going to go classical and everything,
Well, he's Steven Tyler, I think, is a pretty big John Mayall fan, and when John played, I think, in Nashville a year ago or so, there was some talk that Steven might want to get up for a song, and it didn't work out for whatever reason. But a lot of these guys from the classic rock era, they were hugely influenced by British blues and by the Blues Breakers, and they want to pay tribute. We had Joe Walsh on the last record, and we've got some pretty exciting names that we'll be announcing soon on John's new record. Of course, Walter's last record was all duets with a bunch of
I like that album. That was good
people.
Stuff. That was good stuff. I like that. We're all in this together. That was a good album. That was a really good album.
That was a lot of fun making that one, especially the one before was about, it kind of documented his illness. It was called Battle Scars.
Yeah.
And this one was more of a celebration of his, recovered health. So to kind of go from one extreme to the other and to come out the other end was a pretty beautiful thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel like Walter is, kind of at the peak of his career right now, and or maybe hasn't even hit the peak, but he's definitely, he just had his first Billboard #1, and he's up for some blues awards in Memphis next week, and it's really a joy to be a part of.
Well, that is exciting, man. And that's the thing too. That's why, the one reason why I was honored to have you on the show, because I want to hear some stories too about Walter and stuff that hear about the cancer and all that, because that was a scary time, and I'm glad that everything worked out for him, because that he was able to keep going and beat it and everything, because I got the chance to see him perform back in my home state of Minnesota back in like 2006 or 2007. He was one of the headliners for that. We used to have an event called the Last Ride Blues Fest, and man, with a guy who was so dedicated to his craft, just like John Mayall and all the other legends, it's like, I mean, had he not have made it, man, or beat the cancer, the world would have definitely suffered a big loss. That's for sure. As they do with anybody who's been in the business forever, and eventually their time comes. But to have him defeat cancer and be able to keep making music and doing what he loves, I mean, it's like, I can definitely tell in the way that he's performing that he's probably he's probably doing like more than 200% effort now, more than he probably has ever before, because of I just want to keep on doing this.
Yeah, I think he feels great, and I think he's just extremely grateful to have a new lease on life. And it was so much fun having him play on my record, and it was a different kind of playing for him. I didn't want him to use his normal rig. I had him play through like an old 1950s amp, that doesn't have the same kind of sustain. And so there's a real physicality to his playing on the song's called Riding with Lady Luck.
Sure.
And that's some of my favorite playing that I've ever heard from him. I just think it's tremendous. And to be able to kind of I'm playing harmonica against his guitars. It's really fun. I play harmonica on a lot of people's records, but Walter's such a great harmonica player. People don't want to hear me play on his records. They want to hear him. So it was really fun to have him on my record and get to do that.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you next. We're talking about your album, and we are joined, we are with Eric Corne, and he released a new album called Happy Songs for the Apocalypse. What are some of your songs, like, if for people who find your album, what are the songs that you would think that people would enjoy?
Well, I mean, honestly, they're all my babies, man. I love them all equally, but I think that I really wanted to put together a record of where all of the songs kind of complete one bigger picture. So I would say maybe if I was going to point to some standout tracks, I think Locomotion is one that's really gotten a great reception. It's a bigger production with horns and tack piano and slide guitar and a really exciting rhythm section. So I think that's one that people really, really love. And the one with Walter, Riding with Lady Luck, there's one called Pull String to Inflate that's been getting some really good airplay that Rick Holmstrom from Mavis Staples Band plays guitar on. And another one of my favorites is Shortwave Preachers. I think that's maybe another standout track. But I think, this is probably something most artists would say, but I definitely feel that the best way to experience this is to listen to the album start to finish. Like, it tells a story. It starts with Mad World, which is the beginning of the story, and it ends with I'm spacing here. Sing, Little Darling, Sing. So it's kind of, I try to end it on a very hopeful note.
Sure.
With that song, it's just kind of me on ukulele, and you hear my 7-year-old daughter come in at the end. She kind of states the album title, and kind of ends it on a hopeful, optimistic note. And I think that's kind of the thing with the record, is it's very critical of our leaders and the sort of the state of the world today. But I think there's a lot of hope with the next generation, who's a lot more open-minded and accepting. And I think hopefully justice prevails
Sure.
as they sort of start to take the reins of power.
Oh, I could definitely, I definitely hope so too. Rick Lusher sent me the digital copy of the album, so I will definitely, just so you have the assurance of knowing that your music will get played here on Rapid Fire Radio. I actually incorporated the whole, every download that I could find that he sent me, and put the whole album in our massive 45,000 song library that we have. So your songs will definitely get played on our station. That's for sure. Just so you know.
Oh, that's great. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah,
because here at Rapid Fire Radio, we do something a little bit different that most stations, are too afraid to do because of the love for top 40 that everybody seems to have. Well, I understand why we have top 40 and all that stuff, but here on Black Hills Blues and here on Rapid Fire Radio, we play everything. We don't discriminate by just a hit just because it was a charter. We want to play the deepest of the deep. So we got a lot of
cool.
Great music in there. So it's like independent artists as well. We're the underdog, so we support the underdog. So there you go.
Very cool.
Just so you know.
Very cool.
Now, before we end this interview, and again, Eric, I do appreciate the fact that you taking time to talk to me, and I want I want to visit with you further later on down the road, maybe about doing some other things. If we can ever get some other, if you know of some other people that would definitely like to be on the show, or just to be on, not even if it's just on Black Hills Blues, because we do other interviews as well with other genres of music. I want to talk about 40 Below Records. I want people to kind of get an idea of what is, like, we talked about how you're the owner and stuff on 40 Below Records. How long has it been in existence?
Not too long, probably, I'd say about 4 years.
Oh, okay.
It's just a small label. I've just got a handful of artists. It's generally like artists that are doing some form of Americana and or indie rock. And by Americana, that can mean blues, country, soul, folk, all the American roots forms. And so I think, we've got some great national attention for artists like Sam Morrow and Jamie Wyatt in the country Americana world, and obviously John Mayall in the blues world. But we keep it small because we really want to see our artists succeed, and I have to be careful not to take on too much since I'm writing and making records. I need to make sure that I'm only releasing a few records a year so that I can give them the attention that they deserve and ensure that they're successful. So I think as the label grows and becomes more successful and I take on a bigger staff, we may start to release more records, but I want to be really careful not to take on too much, because people are trusting me with their careers, and it's a big responsibility, and have to take it very seriously.
Well, yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, it's still business, no matter what.
Yeah, and they only have one career, so I that's always really at the forefront of my mind, and it's like I said, it's a big responsibility, and it's their career and their livelihood at stake. So I need to make sure that I'm kicking ass for them.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, with some of these lesser named guys and gals that you have, how did they find you? I mean, was it word of mouth, or did they know some other people that knew you, or like Jamie Wyatt and Sam Morrow? How'd they find you?
Yeah, it's referrals and word of mouth. It's often people discovering my work and liking what they hear. And I get people reaching out to me, a handful of people reaching out to me every week. I tried to respond to all of them, but it's kind of gotten to the point where I can't. And 40 Below it's a producer label. So I'm putting out work that I'm working on creatively. That's, that's kind of our brand.
Yeah.
And so it's generally people that want to work with me in the studio. And often it's artists, there might be an artist on the label, and then some of their friends like what we're doing and reach out to me. And that's kind of how things have evolved. Our latest signing is Sugar Ray Rayford. So we're really excited about working with him, and he's another great blues and soul artist. He's nominated for 4 Blues Music Awards in Memphis next week, and I think he's just one of the greatest singers on the planet. So but it's usually word of mouth and referrals.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And the title 40 Below Records, at first I would have assumed you would have been more like a Minnesota record or something, or a label, because 40 Below would make more sense if you were more up north than where you are in California.
Well, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. I'm from north of where you're from. I heard you say you're from Minnesota. I'm from Winnipeg.
Oh, really?
I'm a Canadian.
Oh, wow.
So you nailed it on the head there. That's where the title comes from. That's where the label name comes from.
Well, then I have an extra question for you then, since I had no idea that you were so close or whatever, even though you now live farther away in California or whatnot. But Are you familiar with the northern Minnesota area? Have you ever been around there?
I've just driven through, on my way to Minneapolis when I was growing up in Winnipeg. Sometimes we drive down and see some shows, some concerts in Minneapolis. But I haven't spent much time in any of the smaller towns in the north.
Well, have you ever heard of Polaris or Industries or Articat at all?
I'm not too familiar with those, no.
Those are some of the well-known factories from northern Minnesota.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like, what I mean is, like,
cool.
they're the ones responsible for, like, snowcats and four-wheelers and stuff like that. They're really big deals back here anyway, or at least, in Minnesota. While most places, maybe in California, you probably have some dealers, that deal, distribute their products and stuff like that all over the U.S., but that's where it all kind of started anyway.
Well, in Winnipeg, we definitely feel a kinship with Minnesota, and I think a lot of that also comes from our shared football coach, Bud Grant, who coached the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Minnesota Vikings. And, but I'm a Bears fan, if I'm going to come clean.
And I'm not even a football fan. I'm a pro wrestling fan, let alone a music fan. So I'm WWE all the way,
Right on.
But anyway, Eric, I do appreciate the fact that you taking some time to let me chat with you. I mean, this has been a lot of fun. For anybody who hasn't got enough information out of this interview and wants to know more about you, how would they do that?
They can either go to my website, which is ericcornmusic.com, or they can go to the 40 Below website, which is all 40 spelled out, 40belowrecords.com. And, I think the best way to keep tabs on what we're doing is to follow myself and the label on socials, on social media, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, again, this has been a real treat, and I definitely want to chat with you later on, or at least visit with you later in the future, as far as like maybe working together and getting some of your artists over here on Rapid Fire Radio, because it seems like you got a lot of talent over there, and you know what you're doing, and I want to, if I can help get your name out more, I definitely would be honored to do that.
Well, I was happy to do it, and really appreciate you helping to spread the word about our work here at 40 Below and my album. So thank you for that, and look forward to talking with you again in the future.
All right, man. You take care, and keep rocking.
Okay, thanks, man.
All right.
You.
Bye-bye.
Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye. And that was Mr. Eric Corne. Man, what a good guy. What a nice guy. Just a true gentleman. And we appreciate him, and we appreciate all you guys and gals out there in Radio Land just giving me a chance, to pursue what I love doing. Give everybody a round of applause. Give Eric a round of applause. Yeah. See, we appreciate stuff like that, and I appreciate the fact that people care enough to let me do this stuff, and let alone anything else, So hopefully everybody enjoyed that interview. More on-demand interviews will be coming out here soon, as of this week, maybe even tonight. Either tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to release another interview here, or soon anyway, with Michael Mills, the Michael Mills Band out of California, the West Coast indie band, blues band. That I interviewed back in January. But with these episodes, I mean, we're at episode number 23 right now. Tune in on Monday. Monday, we got a double header here for interviews. We're going to be joined by the Lucky Losers Band. That's the name of their band, the Lucky Losers. They're out of California. I believe they're from San Francisco, I believe. But anyway, we're going to be joined by them, a man and woman team. Blues team, and then also Bobby Torello, who is known for being a drummer for the Jay Willie Band, and also he worked with Johnny Winter and all that, will be joining us here on Monday as well. The interviews with Lucky Losers will be about 2 o'clock Mountain Time, and the interview with Bobby will be 4 o'clock Mountain Time. So you want to check that out as well here this coming Monday, a doubleheader on Rapid Fire Radio. And, pretty soon these interviews are going to be done here, wrapping up here shortly for Season 2. Will there be a Season 3? Well, there's a possibility, but it may be a little while because there's other things that I want to pursue and do as well. This summer, there's going to be a lot of things going on here that I want to let you guys know about. And I just found word that WWE is coming to the Civic Center here Friday, June 29th. So I'm looking forward to that as well, participating with that. So, yeah, lots of good stuff coming around here in Rapid City, and also for Black Hills Blues and Rapid Fire Radio, because you never know what's going to happen next, because half the time we don't even know what's going to happen. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm going to take you back to music here on the stream. I wanted to say thank you to everybody who's who's willing to who's willing to give me a chance and let me pursue, or to at least listen to me and let me do this, because I do I do appreciate that. So it is something that I definitely don't take for granted. That is for sure. So keep it locked here, Rapid Fire Radio, Black Hills Blues. I'm out for tonight, for now. We'll see you again for another great edition of Black Hills Blues and Rapid Fire Radio, where you never know what's going to happen next, because we don't even know. Oh yeah, thanks for all the likes as well. Bye for now.
In the summertime, when the weather is high, you can stretch right up and touch the sky.